Hello everyone. This portion of the Evo training will focus on evaluating and fixing common faults and malfunctions with the Cyclomix Evo, along with troubleshooting techniques. Thank you for viewing this video on troubleshooting.
This segment we're going to talk about some of the more common faults that you'll get. So right now we're in production and I'm going to spray the gun and then we'll get a fault and we'll address that fault. So right now I'm just going to spray the gun. And we got maximum flow rate air. So what this could be, if you see the little question mark there, if I select that, it's going to give us some possible causes. One of them is leak on the circuit, no nozzle in the gun, and then too much fluid pressure. Now this is a parameter, your flow rate, high and low limits are parameters that you can set in the recipe. So the recipe was set for 50 cc's and we exceeded that, so it alarmed. This could be useful for if you're using, say on a robot and you have a tip in there in the gun and it's starting to wear out. If the tip starts to wear out, obviously you're going to get more flow rate. Or it could be if you're in a situation where you're painting a big product and you have a real long hose, maybe somebody ran over the hose of the forklift and it broke. So your maximum flow rate was exceeded, causing the air. So there's a couple ways to use that. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and clear that. Go in here, clear, and now I can either reload the system if I want, reprime it. See, it says regeneration. If I select bypass, I'm going to go straight back into production. So I'm back in production, ready to spray now. Okay, we're going to spray the gun and see what kind of fault we get this time. And we got the minimum flow rate air. Again, this is another setting that you set in the parameters. So if we go below that set point, it's going to fault on you. So this could be, for example, a tip started to plug, you're getting blockage in the hose, your fluid regulator isn't working, maybe you're starting to run out of paint. So those are some of the possible causes. And now we'll move on to the next. Okay, now for this next fault, we're going to spray the gun and we'll see what happens on the screen. So the ratio AB air low limit means that we're off ratio. The low limit means that we're actually lower than our set point ratio. So when we're lower, means we're not getting enough catalyst. So we have to adjust our pressures here. It's usually pressure related, but it also can be caused by not having the correct injection setup. So you'd have to go in and adjust your gain for your injection. So another very common error you'll get, we're going to demonstrate right here. I'm going to spray the gun, we're in production. And you see no signal air from flow meter A or air spraying time exceeded. So basically what that means is that the atomizing air was on, but I was not getting any counts on the flow meter. So either I possibly could have an air leak in the line. In a manual situation, the operator could be triggering the gun to blow off a part. In an automatic system, we would be tied into an electronic trigger signal, but the trigger could be on and no fluid is moving. Maybe a ball valve's closed somewhere, Maybe they forgot to turn on the paint pump. So those are the type of things you're looking for. So you can also get some faults when you're flushing. We're going to demonstrate that right now. I'm going to go into a production flush. Hit yes. Start flushing. And that's telling me that I'm not getting counts on the flow meter. If I were getting counts on the flow meter, maybe my solvent pump's out of solvent. Maybe I'm out of, or somebody closed the ball valve, or there's a plug in the line somewhere. Also, this is on a timer, so it's a parameter that you set. If you start the flush and in so many seconds you're not moving solvent, it's going to fault. So sometimes the operator has to come out of the booth, hit flush. If he doesn't run back in and start pulling the trigger right away, the unit can fault on you. All right, the next faults we're going to talk about are the pot life warning and the pot life actual fault. So if you look on the side here, we're only using gun 1, but our pot life is actually counting down here. And then if you look here, it tells us the pot life 2. Now, when it gets down, if you're set for anything under 1 hour, it's going to be 10% of that value before it hits the warning. If your set pot life is longer than an hour, it's going to be 5 minutes before that pot life expiration. So you'll get 5 minutes over an hour and 10% of the value under an hour. So as we're counting down here, you see it's all black. Now it's about to go down. When we get 10% of that value, we have it set for 3 minutes right now, it's going to turn red. And here we go. Okay, you notice it's red? That's our warning. So if you looked on the screen and you saw that flashing, that's the warning. Now you have some time before it hits the actual fault. Right now, if I sprayed, I could reset that fault. If I don't respray, it's going to go in and try to regenerate new material. If you're using a manual gun without a flush box, it's not going to do anything. It will shut off your atomizing air, so you won't be able to spray, but it's not going to spray out of the gun. If I had a dump valve on an automatic system right now, it would open the dump valve and regenerate and reset that pot life. Okay, we're going to talk about our next fault. This is a very common one. You'll have it sometimes when you're just sitting there, not spraying, and there you go. It's a leakage on the B side. Possible causes for this: if you have a bad sensor, sometimes they short out and they send a signal all the time. Other things could be you're getting interference, electrical interference. Make sure everything's grounded good. Could also possibly be you're getting some vibrations maybe. If you're on a booth wall and you don't have your sensor snugged down, don't over tighten it, just snug it, but there's a locking nut. That nut's not locked and you're on a booth that's vibrating, you could get this signal. And of course, one of the main faults for this is if your catalyst injector is leaking. Could be a bad needle tip, could be material stuck in the needle seat area. So that's the obvious one. The fault for leakage on the A circuit means that you're getting counts on the flow meter but no trigger signal. So you'll be able to run a handful of injections, but then it's going to fault out on you. And that's the signal that or the error you'll get is leakage on the A circuit.
And this concludes the troubleshooting portion for the Cyclomix Evo. Thank you.